What's the best Wi-Fi name you've seen? I caused a small family panic when I named it Disconnected. Edit. Thank you guys for so much more evil ideas and suggestions. My family will suffer more and I'll burn in hell for sure. Thanks. My so changed data loading. I'll never get back the time I put into trying to fix it. My favorite was, Mom, click here for internet. Calling it now that someone else's mother who has visited their child within that Wi-Fi router's range has tried to connect to it. Chipital. Guess there's no Chipital nearby. It's stupid shiz like this that cracks me up the most. I don't know why. We are not allowed to have our own routers on campus, so I named mine AT&T Mobile Hotspot. Gotta go for something less obvious like John's iPhone. Go back to California when I had just moved to Texas and had CA plates on my car still. Jeez. My favorite is it's on the back of the router edit. On the back of the router it would say ask my name for port. My Wi-Fi port for a while was on the router. Hilarity ensued. The following port was it didn't change. Port. The port was Wi-Fi. Set your Wi-Fi port to / uppercase. Then, when someone asks, tell them one word all lowercase, for words all uppercase. Source Yao 2. One of my sons, probably about 12 or 13 at the time, friend's father set added a Wi-Fi channel named Free Internet Porn when his son had a birthday sleepover. The father then sat outside the area where they were sleeping and listened to them spend hours trying to figure out how to connect. My son called me that night asking how to connect to a Wi-Fi channel when you don't know the port because his friend forgot their port. I told him the only way was to guess. Evidently it kept them busy and out of trouble all night until they broke the code. Protected sex and unprotected sex for a British electronics store called Sex. My iSpace cocks, so do with that what you will. Rebellious Amish family. I scrolled down far and it was worth it for this comment. The most notable and my least favorite. I can hear you masturbating. I lived in an apartment with thin walls. I was really self-conscious after that. Carrot. Edit. Thanks for the awards and laughs. Stay safe fellow redditors. Image chilling in your bedroom and suddenly you hear smack 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 smack. My younger brother set his mobile hotspot to hot singles in your area and I'm never gonna get over it. Missed an opportunity for hot signals in your area. I ducked Jenny, landlord's wife. I had a friend who had that. Hated his landlord, but the landlord couldn't find out which tenant was broadcasting it. The friend had it hooked up to a battery so the landlord couldn't cut the power to find out whose it was. I was like, a battery? Now I don't believe this story. And then I remembered that I also own upsis. Would on the Wi-Fi port was I don't know hilarious when anyone asked him how to get on his Wi-Fi. It was like a vaudeville routine. Guy walks into a bar and asks the bartender, what's the Wi-Fi port? The bartender replies, you need to buy a beer first. So the guy buys a beer and asks again, what's the Wi-Fi port? The bartender replies, you need to buy a beer first, all lowercase, no spaces or punctuation. Silence of the LAN is a top contender for me. Mine's pretty clayic, pretty fly for a Wi-Fi. Totally safe Wi-Fi, no spyware. Promise and let it open, without port. Header I've got my guest network SSID as very free Wi-Fi no virus. Try and embed in the modem. That's mine. Port is cool edit. Yes I know it should be cool. Cool but I just did triple cool because that's the amount he says fast. Crack Shack, which wasn't exactly creative, but we later found out that the owners were arrested for selling drugs. Edit. No, it was not a restaurant. We don't have a restaurant chain named Crack Shack in my state. Easy way to tell customers how to get there. Just drive up 5th until your phone sees the Crack Shack Wi-Fi. You'll know which house it is. Malware. Eggs. Not avirus. Eggs. 5G coronavirus test #1 strength. 500%. Hehe. It's actually really sad that people think 5G can hurt you. Wu-Tang Lan. One of my neighbors has been Wu-Tang Lan for years. I love it. Was at a church and some neighbor had Jesus has left the building. Jesus has left the chat. This LAN is my LAN. This LAN is your LAN. Lord of the Pings. Poured Lagolus. Fee you fools. Free Wi-Fi. I jokingly set up a hotspot called Free Wi-Fi Airports while waiting for a delayed plane. I shut it down after 5 minutes cause my phone was getting dosed by people trying to connect to it. Edit 1K. Cause this got a bit more traction than expected. I wanted to add something to avoid getting people into trouble. Sniffing traffic could be illegal in your country. Do this in your home lab, but for the sake of God don't start spamming fake hotspots and allow people to connect to them. The less experience you have, the more likely you're doing something that could be considered a felony. Edit 2. This was supposed to be a fun Wi-Fi name story and turned into a how to hack Wi-Fi fac. I'm not going to share any information regarding stuff like this, and it's completely off topic. Plus, again, as mentioned in edit 1, if you don't know what you're doing and follow advice from a guy called AskReddit, it could get you into trouble. All I'm saying is to be careful when using networks you're not controlling and to take appropriate measures if you're handling data that could be harmful to you, your company or others. Edit 3. Thanks kind stranger for the award. Definitely didn't expect a stupid hotspot story to be my most upvoted comment. Edit 4. Rephrased legality of sniffing. My neighbor had two brothers chillin' in a hot tub, 5 feet apart cause they're not gay. Is this the Krusty Krab? The poured was not a CISPA trick. I use this one for my hotspot. Nobody has tried to connect to it yet, but I'm hoping one day they will. When my brother was in the Air Force Reserve, I went to his house one day and say his Wi-Fi name was LAN of the Free. I'm in a military barracks and my Wi-Fi name isn't CIS surveillance van. It burns when IPE. 8 hurts one IPE. The best Wi-Fi name that I found led me on an elaborate adventure. It was called Help Girl Kidnapped Floor 9 App 30C. On the door of that apartment was a post-it note that instructed me to go into the basement, where there was a stash of free marshmallows. Grabbed enough to add into a cup of white hot chocolate. Meanwhile, the poor girl is still being held at floor 9 App 30C. I install internet etc. for a living. Best one I ever came up with was for the Delta Phi sorority, Delta Wi-Fi. They loved it. My frat's Wi-Fi was called Lambda Chi Alpha. I'm sure you can guess which one that was. Edit. Damn, so many brothers on Reddit. Theta Upsilon 943 here. That's what she SSID. I use this and router. I hardly knew her. Tell my Wi-Fi love her. I kinda wish the person responsible for that router updated the name regularly to fill everyone else in on how their relationship was going. Tell my Wi-Fi need more space. Tell my Wi-Fi want another kid, but only if she's okay with it. Tell my Wi-Fi want a divorce. For the longest time, I had my phone's hotspot name as Police Surveillance Tricycle. Turns out, it's a good way to get some people paranoid and have others amused over the whole thing. When having it active during CLEs, I would use FBI surveillance van #4. Yalkats Jatov Milan. One of my neighbors used to have Jerof Moylan. In my last apartment I named my Wi-Fi New England Clam Router. Always like that one. Mon Frenchy say it. Router, it's router. Mine is Panic. At the Cisco edit. Holy crap. Baby's first silver. Thank you. Edit to Electric Boogaloo. Baby's first gold. Thank you. Land Rover. House Lannister. That's the name of my 4 GHz Wi-Fi. My 5 GHz is ping and north. Benjamin Franklin and Vladimir Routin. Abraham Links's. I had a roommate that named us Batlin and Login. I always thought that was clever. One day, the Batmobile wouldn't start. Batman, Robin, quick. The Joker's going to get away. Check the battery. Robin, okay Batman, just one question. What's a Terry? I was in the back of a bus and the Wi-Fi name was say Chicken Nuggets. I yelled Chicken Nuggets to the front of the bus. Someone replied no spaces. I didn't get it at first, but after like 5 minutes I was like, wait. Put in chicken nuggets for the board, and I was in. Back when my sister lived on a college campus there was a Yell penis for porn. Never actually tried it out though. I'm a fan of Bill Wee, the science fee. My dad's a huge fan of the Matrix and calls every router we've ever had the Nebuchadnezzar. Or he really wants a 15-liter bottle of wine / cosplays as a Babylonian king. I like mine. I have a dual band router with 4 GHz and 5 GHz. They are named Bees. I wonder how this will affect my honey business. 5G tower signal drives Karens crazy. My 5G T carat OW carat ER carat S bring all the Karens to the yard. When my grandma was getting her Wi-Fi set up, we asked her what she'd say to people who asked for her Wi-Fi. She said that she would tell them to go to hell, so that's now her password. So whenever people ask for the Wi-Fi password, she tells them, go to hell. That's good. I set mine as no for a long time. My brother would ask for the password, and I would reply no. Who the hell is stealing my Wi-Fi? Actually did this during college, when I still lived at home. I was playing Gears of War and all of a sudden my game becomes laggy as duck. So I log into the router settings to see if I have something connected that I'm not aware of. I figured my laptop or something may have been downloading some updates automatically. Surprisingly I see a computer called Jackie PC, which is odd because no one in my family is named Jackie. Turns out my neighbor's daughter was home for the weekend and they didn't have Wi-Fi. I always just left mine open for ease of use with friends and family, since I don't have many houses nearby. This was the first time it had ever been a problem. So I immediately changed my SID to Jackie Stop Stealing My Wi-Fi and put a password on it. I don't mind sharing, but when you duck with my gaming we have a problem. Cisco Inferno. My dad named ours Nachowifi because we had neighbors who moved and who were stealing our Wi-Fi. They had kids our age, and I was hanging out with one of them when they said they had Wi-Fi. I said, oh how? And they said that no one from the Wi-Fi company came by, but they still managed to get some from somewhere. He didn't know where. Turns out his parents were using our Wi-Fi and not telling them because they didn't want them telling us and us telling our parents, us being me and my little brother. My dad said the Wi-Fi had been slower. I told him what the kid said, and he immediately locked the Wi-Fi. We didn't know there wasn't a password set on it. So then came the dad joke Wi-Fi name, Nachowifi. For those who don't get it, not your Wi-Fi, Nacho Wi-Fi. I went from 4 karma to 10k karma because my dad is a practical jokester who had the opportunity to use a dad joke and did so amazingly. Thank you, Reddit. I once printed secure your Wi-Fi on one of my neighbor's Wi-Fi enabled printers. He didn't think it was funny. Edit. I will let my neighbor know his unsecured Wi-Fi earned me silver on Reddit. Thank you. My neighbors in college had one called Uncle Touch's Puzzle Basement. Patton Oswalt reference. Nice. Hide yo kids, hide yo Wi-Fi. I had this one back in the day. Pretty fly for a Wi-Fi edit. My first ever award. Thank you Mr. E-Person. And the award is 1,234,556. Connecto Patronum. Nice. Mine is Axio Internet with the award Alohamora. My phone's hotspot is Drive. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Your Wi-Fi is just a Puyo reskin. Used to live in a rough neighborhood with lots of addicts. Husband set us to surveillance van. 1. The whole police mobile command names are getting dated now, but before those kinds of names were well known, that chiz was pretty good. I live in a medical marijuana state, but when the law was first passed the police were pissed about it and still did everything they could to get people in trouble. Without getting into it too much, petty stuff like, if you forgot to lock the door to the grow room when frantically running to the front door to answer the screaming SWAT team hoss threatening to break it down, they'd say the law says it has to be locked and it's not. So you're getting charged with full-on manufacturing and doing 2 years in prison, even though you have a license. Chiz like that. Duck you Bill Shuet. Anyway, right about that time was when people just started naming their Wi-Fi after government entities, and the ducking neighbor naming his FBI surveillance truck made me lose more than a few nights sleep before I figured it out. I'm probably one of the few people who ever fell for that chiz, and boy did it get me bad. Mortar it was password protected. One does not simply log into Mortar. Chance the router. Abraham Links's. I named mine that. And the other is John Weefilk's booth. We fight when it's clear we have such a strong connection. Router. I hardly know her as my all-time favorite. Our home Wi-Fi is Lord Voldemort. No regrets. I'm under your bed and I'll look at you while you are asleep. Scream penis for Pord. Parker. Martin Router King. 5G COVID-19 test was on a 5 GHz channel. The Promised Land. I mean mine is Land Solo, which is pretty great. My 4 is Land Solo and my 5 is Lando Calrissian. My neighbor completely ruined the ending of Infinity War for me, since he was beginning to watch Game of Thrones, and I was spiteful. I changed my Wi-Fi networks to Ned Stark dies season 1! Jon Snow dies season 5. I'm not proud of it, but it did give some small satisfaction. Edit. Messed up a spoiler. Spoiling goatee is a small brain play. You gotta go for the long con on M. Don't spoil anything, let them watch it and get invested. Then just let season 8 do all the work. A Wi-Fi has no name. A guest has no Wi-Fi. Oh my, you watched until the end? That's fucking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.